Stock tip. Best stock setups.
I'm Marcel Todia, and this is a new episode of Stock Tip Daily Update. The markets are performing better than expected this week. And then you see here in the SPY, we've had a continuation of our rally, and today we've managed to close above the last resistance line here, and also above the 20-day moving average. The same can almost be said about the Nasdaq. Remember, the Nasdaq is the one that started the correction in the first time. In the Nasdaq, we've defended the 90-day moving average, and we've conquered the 200-day moving average, and we've just reached the 20. Also, today we've reached the support line, the resistance line here, namely this trend line from the beginning of the correction. It remains to be seen if you are able to close above it tomorrow. If we manage, then there is a good chance that this will be a V-shaped recovery, and that would leave us with a lot of upside here. And this may just be possible, seeing how in past corrections this also happened. So these were two small corrections here, and in both of them we had a V-shaped, a small V-shaped, and here not just a small, but we've reached all-time highs here. And if you take a look at the past corrections, bigger corrections, for example, the one we had in October here, you also are able to see we've also had a V-shaped recovery here, and we've almost doubled in range and movement dynamic. So almost everywhere you look, also I think at the beginning of the pandemic, we've had pretty much the same thing. So that's why I think there is a good reason for optimism here, but it remains to be seen. Meanwhile, we are careful, and we've taken, so I think, a quarter of the position today in the Qs and a quarter of the position in the SPY, and also so this is where it is. So this was the entry here, this was the stop, and today I've taken 25% of the winnings in the SPY and also in the Nasdaq, and today's stop in the SPY is just beneath today's low, and in the Nasdaq pretty much the same. I think I've left it here underneath this pivot here, so a little higher. As of now, anything that happens won't affect us. We still remain at least with 25% of the profits we've taken, and if the Nasdaq closes beneath our expectations, then we won't have any minus anymore. The rest of the markets, so the small caps, are also starting to turn around, but they are still underperforming the rest of the indexes. We haven't reached our last resistance line here, and we are still beneath the 20-day moving average. So all in all, the Russell doesn't look that healthy, and it remains to be seen if the recovery can go ahead without the Russell. So the Russell has to start showing some momentum if we are to continue the recovery. Also, some other factors to take into account when we are talking about the upside here are the main titles. So Apple is performing very nice, as you can see. Apple is overperforming the market, but the other titles, the other big titles like Amazon, still is pretty much down, and we still have here three parallel lines that are descending, so a descending trend. The same can be said in Google, the same can be said in Adobe, at least Adobe managed to break out here out of this formation. The same can be said in Netflix, so the same can be said pretty much in all of the big stocks. Here, Nvidia is the same. So is this going to be a sustained rally or not? We're going to find out perhaps till the end of the week. Until then, I think we have to protect our winnings by pulling our stops higher, by bringing our stops higher, and take profits along the way. Okay, so euro to US dollar also had a moment of stabilization today, where we were pretty much down again at the level of the opening hours, but in the end we've closed almost at the daily highs. I am curious as to which direction this is heading. We are still inside this trend canal, so I'm going to leave my hedge still open. This is the point where I've started my hedge, so I'm still in plus here, and at least until we break, I don't know, I actually don't know what's going to happen here, but for the moment I think I'm going to leave the hedge like it is, and I'm going to decide as we go. Oil also starting to make more sense here with sensible movements, not not the vertical movements we've seen the last couple of weeks. Gold and silver, both of them still pretty much down, and there is no reason for optimism here. Not that I care, but I think you can let them rest. They need a lot of momentum and a lot of time, perhaps, to recover and to reach the breakout point again. And the German markets are pretty much keeping in touch with US markets, and the DAX also finished more or less at the daily high, and realize here a small hammer, so not that bad, but also not that much volume. If the US markets are going to recover, are going to continue recovering, then I think the DAX is going to follow suit. If not, then the DAX is again going to follow suit, but on the other side, the downside. So what have I done today, or what are my positions doing? Well, the SPY and the Nasdaq I've already showed you. So profits have been taken here, and the stop has been pulled up. So as of now, there is no possibility that we are going to be to have a negative earnings here. We are in profit, and that's all that matters at the moment. Then yesterday I've opened IRTC, and IRTC had still a pretty nice day, defended the 9-day and confirmed the breakout. I would say it confirmed the breakout here. If we get a similar movement like we did the last times around, so here and here, and then I think the next target would be 160. So a lot of upside here. Then my stop is still where it was at the beginning of this trade, because we haven't had that much of a momentum and not that much dynamic. So at the moment it doesn't really upset me. It doesn't make any sense to take profits in a trend or in a trade that hasn't really started. A new position, a new addition to the portfolio is MDRX. MDRX was a setup that I've presented to the subscribers of stocktip.com, stock-tip.com. So this is only for the premium section, and today it showed a little promise here with above average volume, and for a short time above the breakout point. Actually, we've still finished above the breakout point, and I'm very much pleased with the developments of this trade. There are many possibilities for a stop here. There is a possibility for a very, very aggressive stop, like this here, 20.5, 20.6, and then in the daily there is the possibility for a stop here, 20, a stop here at 19.3, or a stop here. So the last one doesn't make any sense for me. For me, the sensible ones are this one at 20 and this one at 19 point something. I don't really remember where I've placed my stop, but I think I've placed it here. So I think I decided to give it a little more room to develop, and I'm happy with a smaller position in this trade. I think, yes, this is a position I opened yesterday. So yesterday, Hewlett Packard. Also, this was the stock tip of the week. You will see it on our website, stock-tip.com, under free setups. It confirmed the breakout we had yesterday, and it almost brought me in the range of for our first profits. I think there is still a little more to go. I can't really remember now where I've placed my first stop, but I think it was somewhere here. So if this is the case, then perhaps at 17.4, 17.5 is the point where we take our first profits. Meanwhile, the stop remains where it is. We could try to diminish any risks here and place the stop beneath yesterday's bar. I don't know. I will also decide as we go. For the moment, I think I will leave it be, but I don't know. And my most successful trade out of this small series of trades is DVAC. This is also a trade I've mentioned over and over again for the stock tip subscribers, so premium subscribers. I've mentioned it for I think more than a week or so, ever since we had this small consolidation here. I think for almost 2 weeks or so I've mentioned this trade, and the reason I was so excited about this trade was because historically seen such charts with such a nice consolidation just above the 9 and the 20 have a huge upside, especially in a pretty small title and a new entry. So I've said it also last week. The first target would be a triple up. If you take a look here, we were at 60 or 70, and the first target would be 176. So it if you had 60 as your entry, then we are pretty much talking about a triple up, if not certainly about a double up or more. And just take a look at today's candle. We have 14% plus. So this is a trade where I've already taken my first profits. So yesterday I've entered a trade, and today I've already taken my first profits and pulled the stop higher. So I think yesterday I opened the trade here with a stop beneath the low of the day, so here, and we've closed here today. I think my stop is at the moment here, and we shall see what this title still has to offer. I remain optimistic. If the rally continues, then I think there is a good probability we will reach our target, at least the first target here, 160, until the end of the week. But that's only if the rally continues. If the rally doesn't continue, I don't see us having too much momentum. We are very much still dependent on the rest of the market, especially with smaller titles like this one. Okay, so this is all for the first two parts of the video. We are continuing now with the setups. This is where you have to subscribe on our website, stock-tip.com. I will say this almost 90% of the stock of the setups on this list have broken out yesterday or today, and that's something. So that's what I was talking about. During the correction, you don't have to invest pretty much. You have to take care of your watch list, and when the rally starts, then all of these setups, all of these titles that manage to hold their ground during the worst days are going to show a lot of strength, and that's what we are seeing at the moment. The strategy for the remaining of the week: don't go all in. So I'm not going to go all in. I'm going to remain, so 5, 10, definitely not more than 20% invested, because we just may see that the worst is still not behind us, and also there is no really much point of going all in now when we are already 3 days up, and especially already 6 days up in the general market. So if we are to go all in, then we want to see a nice consolidation and then another breakout. If you are still going to continue vertically, then I'm going to stick by my 20%. Okay, now with the third part. So these are the remaining setups. STNG, also a title I've offered you freely yesterday, and this was a very, very nice setup. I wasn't paying attention at the time of the breakout, so I have to wait for a potential breakout, for a potential pullback. So this was a very nice consolidation just beneath the breakout line, a very, very nice consolidation, 3 days long. So the initial stop would have been here, but I think it's safely to presume you can pull your stop beneath today's low. And so this would make a lot of sense, and you see here a nice breakout at above average volume, and this is pretty much our first target here. It may just be that we are going to get a pullback when we touch the 200, but actually I'm going to pretty much remove it here. I don't want to see it for the time being, not in a rally modus. But the first realistic target, or the first optimistic target, would be 18.5, and then the sky is the limit. But anyway, a lot of potential if you take into consideration that your stop would be here. ROC, so ROCC, ROC, also ended the day with above average volume and just above the breakout line, but I didn't want to take it. I think my positions are enough, and I am not really that into opening too many new positions now when we are already 3 days long. So EFSC, also I know this is a title for the weekly chart, and we are now on Tuesday pretty much above the breakout point, but I'm not very certain about this breakout point because we had here this small failed breakout, and that's why I haven't taken it. But if you did, then this may just be a pretty good decision, because take a look at the last movements here. So this was one movement, huge, yes, huge. This was one movement. This is the second movement, so pretty much the same. Then third movement, this was a monster move here. I think this was a breakout. So, and if we repeat this thing, then this would be our upside. So very huge upside, almost a double up. At least 70% is the upside. So that's why it isn't that dramatic if you've taken it. I think this may just be a very smart decision on your side. The next setup is Ever. Ever looks pretty damn good in the weekly chart, and I think also in the daily chart. We've ended the day with a nice powerful hammer here, and also with a huge volume. You see here almost double that we normally have. So what more do you want? If the breakout comes tomorrow, and take into account this is a horizontal setup, so one of the strongest, you had one touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch, fifth touch, sixth touch, and now the seventh touch. If the breakout comes tomorrow, then we are pretty certain to break out, and that's one for the history books. Lauer broke out yesterday and decided to make a pullback today, but I think the 50 and so pretty much the lines here are going to hold, and that would be actually a very nice point to a very nice point for pullback breakout. So for the next setup, with definitely less risk. I think I've said about this title. I'm not going to take it because of the risk. I didn't want to have such a huge risk, even though the upside is that big. I didn't want to have that much of a risk. If we consolidate here 1 or 2, 3 days and then continue up, and the markets are also going our way, then this is definitely a title that I'm interested in. MGI, something I'm also going to take a look at tomorrow, if the markets are performing. So MGI has been for a while now on our watch list, ever since before the breakout here, and now it's definitely not performing any worse. We've outperformed the correction, and with this setup we've reduced our risk pretty much to a minimum, and the upside is huge. ASL continues the way up. I think we can remove it from the setup list, but I'm pretty proud of this title, of this breakout, and this is during the correction. Hewlett Packard, we've discussed it earlier, so gone it is. MDRX, also discussed it earlier. NOG, NOG. Another title that I've presented you with, I think on Friday or yesterday. Also a breakout today, a very nice breakout with a lot of volume, with double the normal volume, and we are all of our lines are heading up, so the risk would be here minimal. I think it's safely to place your stop. Now I think at about 22.3. Apple continues its way up, but if Apple offers a consolidation here, so you may think of it as a mother bar, and if we get another couple of inside candles here, then it may just offer the next setup. Joan, also the next breakout today, the next breakout on our watch list. So this is incredible. So many breakouts today. So first touch, second touch, third touch, fourth touch, and now by the fifth touch we have a takeoff. The stop would be evidently here, and a lot of upside. I think this would be the first target if we manage to continue. And what's the name? Zynga. And Zynga consolidates just above the 9-day moving average, and now has a nice setup. It got pretty close to the breakout point yesterday, but it was a little too vertical for me. I'm very happy with this candle here, with today's candle, a nice inside candle. If you get a 1 to 3 setup more tomorrow, respectively, if you manage to break out tomorrow, I will take it. But because the risk is extremely small, and the upside is pretty much 3 times that of the risk, so this would be the first target here. A gap close would be the first target, and after that the only way to go is up if it breaks out. So this is definitely something that I'm interested in. It goes on the first position here for tomorrow, and also MGI on the first 2 positions. And last but not least, MBI, also outperforming. This was inside the trend canal, and as I've told you yesterday, just the day before yesterday, I think, here it was a definite buy, and yesterday I've said if we are going to close, sorry, Friday, I said if you're going to close above this candle, above Friday's candle, then that would be the point to go all in on this title, because this would confirm the bounce out of the resistance line, out of the trend line. So the only question is, are we going to get a pullback along the way like we did here, or are we going to keep going up until we touch the resistance line? So I think it's pretty safe to assume that we're going to get a pullback on the way, but just remember to take your profits. Okay, that's all for today's video. Remember, like and subscribe, and see you tomorrow.